Best way to predict future is to create it. Good evening everyone. I am Maitri Munali welcoming you on behalf of Kindle to our webinar Early Stage Startup for Marketing, brought to you by multi-domain organization Kindle in association with an edtech startup Skillvalley. Learnings, experiences, and budding entrepreneurs. Today, we have a very special guest with us who started his entrepreneurial journey by decreasing the number of deaths due to unavailability of blood in emergency situations. Someone who has been featured twice by entrepreneurs.com and has been a growth and marketing consultant to 30 plus startups. Yes, it's Mr. Deep Kakkad. We welcome you to our webinar, sir.
Hey, thank you so much, Maitri. Thanks for your warm welcome. So do you want to get started? You want to wait for more people? How does it work?
Yes, sir, we would like you to start.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having my evening coffee, but anyways, before we start, a quick question for whoever's joined, everyone. I'll, of course, I will do a nice start. I'll intro myself, like everyone does. But before we do that, first of all, Maitri, I'm audible fine?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
traveling, so I'm not really sure. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, before we start, I want to know from everyone that if I had no agenda, that what to talk about, what is it that you would like me to talk about? I know, very weird question, but let's try this. Do you have anything in mind that you would want me to focus more on? If not, I do have something that I would like to talk about. But if nothing, um, it would be great that if you give me your suggestions, or if you tell me your expectations in terms of what is it that would be helpful to you if we were to learn that. So if there's anything that you have in mind, feel free to put that in the chat. If not, let's take 30 seconds to do this. If I do not see any answers, we'll go ahead and see what I have. But what I have is basically a very boring presentation, so if you have anything more interesting to talk about, feel free to put that. And just to make sure that it's more interactive and I answer your questions, not that I give a boring lecture, feel free to ask any questions that you have, so that it's more personalized knowledge transfer instead of just me talking or blabbering stuff that does not matter to you. But no, of course, I have made sure that I put out stuff that is useful, but it's more important to be more personalized. So yeah, let's wait for 30 seconds to see that if any one of you have any suggestions on what is it that I should cover in this topic. So let's do it. If you do not have anything in mind, instead of being blank, maybe just say that, hey, put out any other message. You do not necessarily need to say. If you do not have anything in mind, just say that, go with whatever I have, just to make sure that we are interacting, because I'm not able to see your faces, and it's going to be hard for me to judge that how is it that I'm doing. So I need to make sure that we are being interactive in terms of not only me speaking, but also you guys answering, talking, discussing, that kind of stuff. So Ayush says that we can talk about building communities for early stage startups. So interesting, because I recently resigned from a job where we had a community of more than 1 lakh. It was 1.5 lakh members of community for the company that I worked with. I recently resigned, but I do have some tips that I can give you on that. So let's try if we can touch that. But I do not see any other answers. So yeah, I'll share my screen. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you try to be more interactive, I would be more, it would be more fun. That's what I'll say. So taking a second to share my screen. Even if you have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to interrupt me, just to make sure that it's more a discussion. And here we go. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So as I say, boring presentation, mostly words. I try to take some time out to make sure that there's at least one picture. so that it feels interesting, but it's not. The content is, the presentation is not. So the idea for today is early stage marketing for startups. My name is Deep, as you guys already know. Matri gave a nice intro about me. Just to add to this, I have worked with 30 startups as a consultant. I've led marketing and growth for a few startups, which include handling everything from content to SEO to ads, whatnot. And this is a recent development, which is that I have recently started teaching courses with three big universities named Asian Institute of Management, Indian School of Business, National University of Singapore. So I am a program leader with their online courses. So what I'm doing now is also something similar to what I do, what I teach, what I mentor for the courses that I teach with this universities, and these are some really big and costly courses. So because we are talking about start marketing for startups, let's understand, how does it differ when we are marketing for startups and not companies? And which is a very obvious answer, but need to touch upon this to make sure that we all are on the same page, which is that when you are marketing for startups, you do not have money, you do not have resources, and you do not have people. Resources and people are kind of subcategories of not having money. If you have money, you can buy resources and buy people or hire people. Uh, but if you do not have money, it's really hard. Sorry, I'm getting a call, but anyways. So yeah, we do not have money, like this guy in the picture, and marketing without having money is a really tough job. For companies who are already established, who do have some revenue, can put in some dollars into ads and they can get instant results. And it's always a struggle for startups to have no money and then do marketing and bring in some revenue. So, which is why it is challenging, which is why it is a big topic that is usually talked about, and which is why I think we are here to learn that how to do it if you do not have money, if you do not have resources, or if you do not even have people who can help you do that. So that's what I specialize in. If you have a startup which has, you are just launching it and you do not have, so you are in college, you are a few friends who are starting, and you just have your pocket money, say a few thousand rupees that you can spend on marketing. How to use this money to make sure that your marketing is successful is what we will try to do today. So that's how startups differ. Sorry, quick question again. How many of you are comfortable with Hindi? Not that I'm going to talk in Hindi, but बीच बीच में निकल जाता है थोड़ा. So if you are comfortable in Hindi, do let me know in the chat. If not, or if you are not, do let me know in the chat so I know that I should not talk in Hindi. Raghav says how to market initial startups for acquiring more customers. Good point. That's what the whole thing is about. So again, I'm waiting for you to type out if you're not comfortable in Hindi. Not that I speak in Hindi, but just making sure. Okay. Onkar, Ayush says comfortable. All right. I'll share my screen again. Okay. Satyam says comfortable. Cool. So, हाँ, तो स्टार्टअप्स में क्या होता है कि पैसे नहीं है आपके पास, जेब खाली है, आपको resources nahi hai, so you have to try and make things work, which is why it's hard. Again, you know this already, so I'm not going to take more time and talk more about this. But we'll quickly move on to marketing. Now, what does marketing is something that I'm assuming that you guys all know. There's no defined definition for marketing, but it's mostly, you can say that you have a product, you have a service, you have a brand, you own a company or a business that you want to reach more people, to generate revenue, to generate brand awareness, to increase revenue, to retain more customers, etc. Yeah, if this is your aim, that's where marketing comes in. And why I define so many different aspects of marketing, it's not just reaching more people, right? This is where people get confused. Hey, my website has 0 visitors and I want to make it reach 100. It's marketing. Yes, it is, but that's not all. That's one part of marketing. Marketing is divided into or could be divided into a lot of different steps. And which is where this framework, which is what you see here called R, also called as pirate funnel, comes in, which is acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, referral. This is an extra R, which is a typo. I'm sorry about that. But so again, there's this misconception that marketing is about acquiring users or getting more money or having more signups, have more people submit a form, which is true, but that's one part, which is the acquisition part. There's a lot that you need to take care about, that you need to have in mind to make sure that you are not only bringing more people in, but you are making sure that whoever is in is paying you a lot of money. And it's an easier way. So if um, instead of acquiring a new customer, if you can retain the same customer, it's very cheap and it generates more ROI. Now that's a lot of uh, hard words that we don't want to talk about. We'll stay basic here. But so again, this is acquisition, and I'll talk about each of this. So acquisition is, and again, there's reason I'm talking about this is because you need to make sure that you are not only getting more visitors on your website or getting more followers. That's one part of it. You need to understand the other parts, which is this is the one that you know. Um, Someone comes on your website and when they sign up, which is this is what we call as acquisition. Activation is once someone signs up, but they do not use your product. If I sign up to a tool, if I sign up to Gmail, but I never send an email using Gmail, I'm not an activated customer. So making sure that the customers who are there, who have purchased your product or who have signed up for your product, actually use it to achieve the goal that they had in mind before signing up is what we call activation. Retention is making sure that, hey, if I am paying $10 a month using your tool, but what if the next month I do not pay? I cancel my subscription. That is what we call a churn. A customer has churned, which is the customer is left. Now they are not buying your product anymore. But the opposite of churn, which is retention, that if I pay $10 per month today and next month also I keep paying, I am a retained customer. So you earn the same money. So what I was saying earlier is that acquisition costs you a lot, but retention does not cost you. Retention is just making sure that whatever you promised about your product, you are providing that, the customer will stay. So giving a good customer experience is a good idea because you do not have to acquire a customer, but still you get the same amount of money from them. Revenue is that making sure that people who are already a part of the product or already has purchased something, you get more money from them, which is where upselling or cross-selling comes in. To give you a better example of this, is that if you go to buy a mobile, you always get asked that, hey, if you're buying this mobile, why do not you buy this mobile cover, or why do not you buy this headphones? So upsell is that when you go buy a mobile for 50,000, the shopkeeper says that, hey, why don't you buy the one of 70,000? That is upselling. And when you buy a mobile and they sell you a different product which will complement or give you a better experience of using the particular product, which is headphones or mobile cover or whatever you use with mobile, is what is cross selling. And referral is the best part. So a nice tip, right? I have seen that a lot of people are good with this, a lot of product are good with this for, but if you're good with this one, maze hi maze aapke. Now, referral is when, an obvious word, but I'll still give a good example, is two examples actually. Clubhouse. If you have not heard about Clubhouse, I'll give a brief is where you can, if you go to the app, you can create rooms where people can discuss stuff. And there are speakers, there are listeners. You can join as a speaker, you talk, and then people will listen, which is Quora, but more of synchronous type of conversations where people are live talking about stuff. So it's Quora plus Google Meets or something. So Clubhouse is a good example for referral, because when they launched, they did not let anyone join except if someone refers them. And because of this referral system, लोगों को फोमो होने लगा कि हे आई कैन नॉट लॉग इन टू क्लब हाउस, आई कैन नॉट ज्वाइन क्लब हाउस, बट आई वुड लाइक टू ज्वाइन, कैन यू गिव मी अ रेफरल? So because that there was this limitation, so there was this barrier कि not a lot of people can join, you need to have an invite to join. It created a FOMO, and hence everyone wanted to join. So people started referring other people. So that Clubhouse did not have to do a lot of marketing, but automatically, because there were users who were doing marketing for them, helped them with it. So there are many other cases, but basically when someone can refer, or a user can refer another user, which is when you are acquiring a customer for free, basically, is what we call referral. Okay, I took a lot of time there, but yeah. So the main point here that I want to talk about today is this two things, or actually this three things, which is how to market if you do not have money, no resources, no people, what not to focus on, and who to hire if you can hire. So marketing strategies for startups, and especially this is what I believe should do, or what I do, is for one, social media with high organic reach. So let's say you started a business which sells coffee, and you start a Facebook page. Everyone does that, right? Whenever we start a business, we're really excited that, hey, I'll create this social media page and I'll ask my friends to follow. But how long does it go? Like, क्या फायदा होता है? I don't see any results by creating Facebook pages or doing Facebook organic reach marketing, whatever. I don't think Facebook pages help at all if you do not pay them. So it's really important to understand that what are the social media that will provide you high organic reach, and then tap into this network. For example, if you are starting a B2B business, and by B2B, I mean that you are a business that sells to another business. Another business is paying you to use a product or a service. So, for example, if I provide a tool where businesses can use the tool to do email marketing, which is a B2B business, now I cannot create a Facebook page and keep uploading post. भले ही कितना भी creative हो जाऊं मैं, I mean, out of the box hoga, then it's a different thing. But I do not see that a lot of people, a lot of startups can do out of the box marketing stuff. So if you're doing general marketing creatives and posting regularly, and you are being consistent, and then you complain that, hey, I am consistent, but I'm not getting likes, it is because you are not on a social media, for one, which includes or which has your target audience, and second, which does not have an organic reach. So if you are me, who has an email marketing tool that could be used by businesses, you want to go on LinkedIn, you want to go on Twitter, you do not want to go on Facebook. So find out that which are the social media which has, by organic, I mean that you do not need to pay for the reach, you do not need to do ads. So that's one way. Another one is product launches. Now, when I say launch, I do not mean that you go live, you make your website live, and that's a launch. That, of course, a launch, but you do something about it, you do something out of the box. There are a few things that you can do, which includes, there are sites, or there are directories, or there are platforms or communities where you can go and submit your product and say that, hey, we have launched. This directory or platform or community where you have submitted your product will see your product and say that, yeah, this is a nice product, let's launch this product on our platform. So they will launch your product on behalf of you, or not on behalf of you, but they launch a product so that their audience, their website visitors, will get to see your product. An example of this, I'll write here, if you want to take note on this: product hunt, beta page, beta list, etc. So these are a few sites where you can go submit your product, no matter how new, how old that is, you can submit there. And people like me who are very keen on using new products go there every day to find new products and become a user or sign up to use the product. So this kind of launches are a really good idea. Launches also include doing PR and doing media stuff, but I'm not really sure right now if that's a good strategy for you if you're just starting out and you do not have money. But when I say product launches, these are the few, and there are I have a list of 380 of them. These are just three, and each of this has a product hunt has traffic of 4 million, if I'm not wrong, 4 million per month. I'm not sure if it's product hunt. There's product hunt and Captain. Any one of these is 4 million. But yeah, so there's a lot of traffic on this kind of websites or directories where you can go and submit. You do not have to pay anything. You can choose to pay. There are kind of, few different packages that you can choose, but there's always a free package that you can choose. Submit your product there, they will launch, and you will see some traffic. And then ads. Now you'll say that, hey, we just talked that we do not have money. How do we do ads? So yeah, depends. There's a reason to do ads. The reason is that if you're just starting out and you do not know if your product is something that people would like to buy, you can put some money into ads. Let's say, and do not quote me on this because there's no particular amount. No one can guarantee that, hey, this is a good enough amount to test your product. But let's say you put 5,000 or 10,000 rupees in ads. You do ads to your target audience. You let these people in on your website, and you see that how many of these visitors actually are showing interest. Now, हमें ये चीज क्यों करना है? To make sure that you do not put 6 months or 1 year into, you know non-paid marketing activities at the end to just find out that this is not a good product or this is not something that people want. So it's always a good idea, for me at least, I do this always, is that if I am launching something, if I'm planning something, I'll do ads to quickly find out. भले मेरा 5,000 10,000 जा रहा है, but I really need to find out कि ये चीज लोग खरीदेंगे या मुझे ये डेवलप करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए, right? Is it something that people are interested in? So it's sometimes a good idea to do ads, but the reason not to do ad is to make sure that, for one, you get to learn marketing. Now if you do ads, you'll become lazy. Oh, I have money, I do not need to put efforts into marketing, my money will work for me, which is good. But again, if you do it by yourself without doing ads, you will learn the skill of marketing. The another reason to not do ads is because you may not have money. So do not borrow money if you're not confident. Do not get into debt for marketing something that you're not sure if it will work or not. If you have extra 5-10,000, do ads just to make sure that this is a product that you should build or not. And then there are specific industries where you need to do ads. So let's take and again go back to the example. So my friend started a business where his girlfriend is selling soaps, body system right, bathing soaps. And this is not a product that you can write content about. Like, what is it that you'll write? I do not write. I do not know what you can write. You can say you are really creative. You'll find a few ideas to write about, but you'll hit a limit, and that will be all. And you're not even sure that if you're writing something, people will come and read it. I don't think that would be an interesting content if you write about soaps. So it would not make sense to not do ads if you are selling. And now coming to my point, which is, if you are an e-commerce, as far as I understand, as far as my experience go, you will have to do ads. Like you will have to do ads for e-commerce, especially when you are starting from scratch, if you do not have any traffic. Now, another example, if I have an email marketing tool, or if I have, let's say, what else could it be? If I'm selling something that could go really viral, I may not need to do ads. While soap is something that people buy impulsively. So, like, when would you buy a soap? If online, one is either you really need one and you are going to search on Amazon, which is not the case. And second is that you see a really nice ad, which is so attractive that you want to click on it. And then you see that, oh, the website is really good. The website sees that, hey, the soap is smells really nice, and it does some stuff that would impress you. So selling an e-commerce product is really hard, which is why you need to do ads. Okay, so yeah, e-commerce is an industry that I think you need to do ad for. B2b, especially when you are selling to entrepreneurs or startups, you might not need to do ads, because these people are actively looking that these people, for one, are really innovative and support other innovative products. So they will find your product and they will buy if they really like it. That's one reason. Okay. What is it that you don't want to focus on? And this is a big mistake that I see a lot of people do. And again, before I say the word SEO, I want to say that this is debatable. And I see that a lot of people do not agree with this point, but I'm really strong about this, which is that you should not do SEO. For those who do not know SEO, it is search engine optimization, which is a process that you can do to make sure that you rank high on Google or any other search engine. Now, why is it that people do this? Is because it's free. And second, there's a lot of traffic on Google, as every one of us know. All of us, like I Google at least like 20 times a day, if not more. So there's a lot of traffic on Google and it's free. You do not need to pay anything to Google to rank on Google. But why I say that you should not do this as a startup, or you should not, this should not be your first or initial focus, is because it takes a lot of time. You cannot launch your website today and rank for a good keyword tomorrow. Now, again, extending my point, if you try doing SEO, it will take you, say, 3 months if you are good at it, 6 months if you're not good, um, to rank on Google. And in this 3 to 6 months, you will have wasted a lot of resources, a lot of your energy, a lot of your time just to make sure that you rank on Google. But what if after doing that, you find out that it's not a good product, it's not a good business? So again, SEO is a very long-term strategy, long-term game, and not something that you should, I would not say that you should not do, but you may not want to focus on that in the initial stage. But why you want to do SEO is because once you start ranking, आपको कोई रोकने वाला नहीं है. Once you start ranking, you will get good traffic for your lifetime, except that if someone else ranks better than you. But if you are good at SEO and you figure out how to do it, and if you start ranking on search engine, you may not need to do ad for your life. So free ka marketing, who does not love that? So SEO is something you can do, but keep it as a long-term strategy. For short-term, you can find what works for you from this initial three areas. Okay. After this, I'll take a small 1 minute break and see if you have anything on chat. Who to hire is a question. So I told you, right? I teach these three courses where people the learners of these courses are people from 5 to 35 years of experience in marketing. And this is a question that I have seen a lot of them make, is that who to hire. Now, this is once you have money. If you do not have money, there are ways to hire people. For example, you can give them equity of your startup, or you can promise them that, hey, you know that we do not have money, but once we raise funds, we will pay you good amount. Or you can hire someone part-time, or you can hire a freelancer who can do it for not cheap, but for money, for amount that you already have, that kind of stuff. So if you have some money or some other resources for by which you can hire someone, who do you hire? Now, before I answer that, these are the options. Let's see what do we have in chat. These are the options. You can either hire someone who is good at content writing. You can either hire someone who is good at social media. You can hire someone who is good at writing copy. Copy is the content that you see on ads. It's basically words, but it's meant to sell you something. While content is meant to inform you something, copy is meant to sell you something. There could be a person who is good at ads. There's a person who could be good at analytics. So if you are a startup, or if you're an entrepreneur or founder of a startup, who would you hire out of all of this? Or apart from this, if you only had money to hire one person? Let's see if we have any comments from you guys. Chala, don't be shy. At least write something. Who would you hire? Would you hire a content person, a copy person, a social media person? If not that, who would you hire? Tipshika says should hire a content person. Gautam says social media person. Ayush says social media person. Okay, nice, not bad. Who else has an opinion? Okay, on car also says social media. Okay, there's a lot of social media and one content writer. What else? What else? And there's no wrong answer, by the way. There's no wrong answer. It depends on your business. But I have an opinion that I'll give that may make sense to you. But there's no wrong answer, so please do not feel shy. I'll not say, ये तो कैसे लिख दिया आपने. Anything is right. Anything and every answer that you give is a right answer. It's just your mindset. Okay. Okay. No more comments. But Ayush says mix of content plus social. So that's where you're going right, Ayush. I like your answer. So Ayush first said that he would hire a social media person, but then he thought that social media person can only understand that what a particular social media looks like, or how to upload on social media, what time to upload it, when this small nuances or dynamics of social media is something a social media person would understand. But exactly as I said, we need content over social media. So who writes, like if you just hire a social media person, you'll need someone who will write the content that will go on social media. Now, that's one step ahead from just hiring a content person or just hiring a social media person. Now, what if you want to go one more step ahead? Let's say, what if I had a person who can not only do social media plus content plus ads? Do you think that's a good option? I think so. But now, where I'm leading from this is that when you're beginning, you do not have money to hire 3 people, 4 people, 5 people who can handle each channel individually. So, what you'll want to do, and what most of the startups do, is that they hire one person who is kind of a Swiss Army knife, who has a little bit of understanding or enough of understanding of each of this channel to run the whole marketing until you have enough revenue where you can bring in more people. So you do not want to hire a content person, you do not want to hire a social media person, you do not want to hire an ads person, but you want to hire a person who can do a little bit of everything, just so that you are able to generate more revenue and hire more people. So this is basically the solution of the dilemma, that who do we hire? Ayush says that hiring people with energy and growing with the person. Yeah, that's always a good idea. It's not always the skill, but also how passionate the person is to work with you or work with your company. So yeah, you hire a person who can do a little bit of everything, and then you take it from there. I'll quickly share my screen again. It's 5:32. I'll try to make it quick, and because I want to make sure that we answer, or we have a conversation and answer your questions. But I have 2 quick case studies. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen. It's just blank screen instead. I would. Yeah. So there's 2 case studies that I'll talk about. Sorry. One of them is I was able to double the number of users of a startup that I used to work with I think it was around 2016 or 17, by writing one piece of content. Now, okay, again, I'm not trying to boast myself here. I'm just trying to give case studies on how I was able to achieve something, so that you know how maybe you would be able to copy some of my ideas, be inspired from them, and do it for your startup or the company you work with. So what did I do that double the number of users? So this startup that I work with, which was a SaaS, which is software as a service, an online web tool for entrepreneurs. Now they had 350 users, and I wrote this piece of content. Now again, I was in the same boat, right? I did not have money. The startup did not have money to do any of the paid stuff. What I did was I wrote a piece of content which was called 400. I don't exactly remember the number, but it was say 400 or 300 tools that will make your entrepreneurial journey easier in 2018. This was the title of my content. Now, this may sound, this does sound like a very clickbaity title that, oh, 400 tools, I want to check this, like hamesha this happens. If you see a use number, a collection of tools, a collection of resources, everyone wants to click, everyone wants to check, everyone wants to bookmark this kind of stuff. So I wrote this. What I did was I put the startup I was working with on the first number out of this 400 tools that I had, and then I posted this on LinkedIn. It got picked up by a lot of newsletters, a lot of blogs, a lot of Slack channels, a lot of other communities, and people started sharing it. And overnight, like next thing I see on the back end was that a lot of traffic coming in, and the number from 350 users that were already there, it went up to 700. Now, why I would like to talk about this is, for one, content is something that you can do in the initial stage, in the startup phase of your journey, but you want to make sure that writing content does not help at all. And when I say this, I mean that what matters more is the distribution of the content. So there are a lot of good writers, a lot of people who have nice, experiences, knowledge, case studies to share, but just putting out your content on a blog is not going to help you at all. It's just a waste of time if you do not know how to make it reach to more people, how to have more people read it. So if you can figure out, for me, the distribution was that I posted it on LinkedIn, which got a lot of new newsletter admins or newsletter owners or community owners pick it from there and share it in their own communities. So you want to find out that what is it that you can do to not only make your content reach to your friends or your family, because they are not going to purchase your product, they are not your end consumers, even if they will buy once or twice, that's not a sustainable way of marketing. So what you want to do is to make sure that whatever content you write is not only going to reach your first network, but also your second network and your third network, so that it goes viral, it gets read by a lot of people who are your target audience and are not in your own network. So you want to make sure that your content is reached by, sorry, its content is shared by people who has network of your target audience. The second case study is, and okay, so before we move to that one, again, I'll take 4 more minutes for the second case study. uh, this was a very complicated example of how I double the number of users. Marketing is, of course, complicated. There's a lot of dynamics, but it's also a good idea to be clear, to have, to try smaller things, to try very easier things that you do not think could help, but does actually help. And why I say this is because my second case study is very, very simple. So I'm not sure how simple I can make it for you to understand, but let's try this. So there is a service that a company provides, a startup provides, that I work with, which is, again, this service is sold to entrepreneurs and startups. They were doing $1,000 per month in revenue. Now I joined and I helped them part time for 5 months. Now the revenue is $5,000, which is 5 times of the initial revenue. Now what I did to increase the revenue by 5 times is a very simple thing. Like, it may sound that, hey, to increase the revenue by 5 times, you may need to do a lot of other stuff, to tap into different marketing channels, do a good distribution, make sure that there are a lot of new customers, and hire a lot of new people. I did not hire even one person to increase the revenue from $1,000 to $5,000. Now what I did was very simple, and again, the reason I'm talking about this one is to make sure that you understand how simple it could be. So I asked the owner of the startup that, hey, you are doing $1,000 in revenue. What is it that you are doing to acquire your customers? His answer was that we are sending emails. We are sending cold emails. By cold emails, I mean that you send emails to people you do not know. So they were sending cold emails to 100 people every day. So I was like, okay, that sounds good. Why are you not able to increase your revenue from 1,000? And he did not have an answer. And what I did, again, pretty simple, is that instead of sending the email to 100 people, I said that, hey, let's start sending it to 500 people. And that's what we did. And it increased the revenue. So it's pretty damn simple, right? If you have, and again, a learning from this is that if you have a cycle or a framework or something that is working in your marketing activities, you may not even need to do something else. For example, if you're doing Facebook ads, if you find one particular Facebook ad, or if you find one particular channel that's working for you, you just need to put more resources into it to make sure that it's scaled. You may not need to do a lot of things to make sure that you're successful. So find that one thing that works for you, and then double down on that or triple down on that to reach your goals, basically. So yeah, that's it. Let's see if you have any questions. I would like to discuss more about any questions that you may have. For it could be also be particular about your startup. I'm sure that if you ask questions about your startup, it's not only you who's going to learn, but other people who are listening will also learn from you. So yeah, feel free to raise your hand or put your questions in the chat, and let's get them answered. Sorry, I'll be back in 1 minute. I'll not even a minute. I'll just grab a bottle of water. So don't be shy, guys. If you do not, I'm sure that you do have questions, but you do not want to ask because you think that you will ask a stupid question. And I'm sorry for using this word, but what I'm trying to say is that there are no stupid questions. Each of the questions that you may have would not only bring value to you, but all of us, even me, I learn from your question. That's something that I'm sure about. So Rohit says that, oh, let's start. Ayush asked first. So Ayush says that, does email marketing work well in India? It does. So it depends. So there is a lot of dynamics in email marketing, right? So there's two types of email marketing. One is cold emails, where you send emails to people who you do not know, and then second is email newsletters, where you send emails to email subscribers. Now, again, if we segment the email newsletter thing, it depends on who your audience is. So if you are sending emails to people like me, I'll read your email in 1 minute. Uh, so, and if you're sending an email to someone like my dad, he won't ever read it. So again, depends on where your audience is, but it does work. And that's my bad that I did not include cold emails in the section where I talked about the channels that you can use to do use as a startup for marketing. Cold emails. Sorry, thanks for bringing this up, and I'll take 2 minutes to talk about cold emails because it's really important and it's a very untapped marketing channel. So cold emails is when you send emails to people who you do not know. If you are selling a product to a business, you should do cold emails. Doing cold emails is so easy and is so cheap that it will blow your mind. So let's say you want to reach, say if you're selling to CEOs of businesses, what you want to do is you want to find a list or email addresses of your target audience. You want to use free tools out there. There are a lot of them. I don't know if I should name any of them. There's one called Gmass, which costs around $9 a month or something, and it just basically takes, like, 10 minutes of your day to send emails to thousands of people. And if you know how to write good cold emails, I can bet on this that good there's no better marketing channel for you if you're a startup selling to a B2B and you do not have money. So please do not ignore cold emails. Do them a lot. It's important to understand how to do them, but if you do them right, you'll earn a lot of money. You'll absolutely kill it in terms of selling to business if you know how to do cold emails. Plus, if you're selling a product which is priced within the range of, say, $10 to a few $100, you are selling something like, say, $1,000, it may not work, or you may need to be really good. So again, coming back to Ayush's question, does email marketing work well in India? It does, but it does not work as good as it works outside of India. But that does not mean that you should ignore it. If you are good at writing emails, and when I say good at writing emails, one, be really crisp, be really short on what you want to say. If even if you have a lot of things to say, but you send one liner saying that, hey, I have a lot of things to say, but I won't say it in the initial email. If you reply me with a yes, I'll tell you all of it. It's even better than writing a whole paragraph. So be crisp, be short, try to avoid spam words like free or discount or I don't know, sale. This kind of stuff makes gives a signal to Google, or sorry, Gmail or your email provider, that you are sending spam emails, so it will spam you, and the emails won't reach their inbox. So there are these dynamics that you need to take care of. But if you are good at that, if you can do that, email marketing works anywhere in the world if there are people using emails. Rohit says, what startups can a college student look forward to? Is digital marketing the new future? Is digital marketing, so I'm quite not sure what that means, if it's the new future. But let's say if you learn digital marketing, you, for one, you can earn a lot. And I'm talking about this because you all are, most of you are students, if not all of you. You'll earn a lot. It's a skill that you can easily learn. I think it's easier to learn marketing than to learn coding. But there's always this one thing that if it does not fit your, if it's not cup of your tea, it's okay to not do it, because marketing involves a lot of soft skills like writing, sometimes also speaking, uh, uh, which not a lot of us can do. So if it's not for you, then it's okay. But I think it's easier to learn compared to programming, or what else? Being a civil engineer. I'm not sure if any of you are a civil engineer, but I think marketing is easy and a skill that you do not need a lot of degrees or certificates to learn. If you do some practice, uh, how I learned Facebook ads was I started my own e-commerce store. I started running ads. I did not know Facebook ads. I wasted, I think at that time, around a lakh, 1 lakh rupees. I broke even because doing, and after doing ads of 1 lakh, I also earned somewhere around there, a little bit less. So I lost some money, but that's how I learned doing Facebook ads. Not saying that you should spend a lakh, but if you can spend 5,000, that's, or even less, doing marketing is the best way to learn it. And if you can learn it, I think you can not only get a good job because of it, but two, you can easily start something. So yeah, this is okay. So I want to talk about this. So if you know marketing, it's really easy to start up, because there are a lot of products or services that are really small in terms of how much time or efforts you need to build a startup on that. So the building time, the barrier to creating a technology is really low. So say if you want to build a community, which is where a people, or a social media network even, it would not take you more than 2 days or 3 days if you use tools, or no code tools. So building a technology, building a startup has started becoming very easy, which means that if you know marketing, you can not only build because of new tools, but you can also easily market it and then generate revenue, and then boom, there you go, you have a startup. So yeah, learning marketing is a good idea. Other question from Rohit was, what startups can a college student look forward to? So Rohit, do you mean that what kind of startups should you do, or do you mean that what are the currently available startups in India that you should keep an eye on? I did not get your question. If you mind rephrasing it. Onkar says, how much time to invest towards new hirings, if any, when you are consistently putting efforts to encourage them, guide them, and all? So, if I understand correctly, sorry, I'll go back to Rohit's questions. His question was, what are the startups that which are currently available that college students should look forward to? So first of all, I'm not really active in the Indian startup ecosystem. The reason is that the most of the clients that I work with are based in US, and I also kind of work in the VC or investment. startup investment ecosystem, but that also the companies or the VC firms that I work with are based in US. So I'm not really uh, active in what's happening in the Indian startup ecosystem. But if I have to say a few names, I really like what Upgrade is doing, which is an e-learning platform where you can go and take courses. The courses are really costly, but I got a chance to meet one of their co-founders a couple years earlier. But yeah, Upgrade is a good startup and it's an e-learning platform. You want to check it out, but courses are costly, so I'm not saying that hey, buy the courses. Just making sure I'm not promoting them. But nice startup. Um, there's one more, which is the founder is a friend of mine. Is called Edist. I'll type the name. You feel free to check that out. So Edist is also an e-learning platform, but it's more geared towards learning programming. What else? There are a lot of fintech startups that I see that are growing very rapidly. So if you are looking for a job, by the way, do check fintech startups out. They are doing a lot of hiring in marketing. And if you join an early stage startup which is hiring for marketing, the idea is that even if you do not know a lot, and even if you are hired as an intern, I'm not sure what years you are in, but if you even if you are hired as an intern, it's a good there's a good possibility that as the startup grow, your role and what you do will also grow slowly and steadily. So feel free to do that. It's always a good idea. I have even if I so until last year or last to last year actually, when I have had a few head of marketing roles, CMO roles, VC roles and whatnot, I still used to do internships because the way we see internships is that hey, that's a very छोटा बंदा है कि internship कर रहा है क्या कुछ काम नहीं करने होता. So that's a very bad way to see internships. Even if you get internships in a good startup, it's always a good idea to take them simultaneously with your job. Okay, sorry. So bad direction. I'll come back to the questions. On Carvers, how much time to invest towards new hiring, if any, when you are consistently putting efforts to encourage them, guide them, and all. So if I understood correctly, Onka, your question is that how to segregate your time between hiring and training your current employees. So I would say you should not, as a startup, be really actively looking to hire. I mean, if you have a lot of money, then of course. But what you want to do as a startup is not post job postings, which is something you can do, but that's not the best way to hire for you. The best way to hire for you is basically network with more people and try to know more people and then find a good person from your network to work with you. And reason why I say you should do this is because the people who apply for jobs, and again, a lot of I do apply for jobs, so I'm not saying that it's a bad idea, but people who apply for jobs versus people who you network with have different mindset. People who are applying for jobs have a mindset that hey, I'll do an interview, if I get hired I'll get this much money. I know this is the whole application process is more geared towards getting a job, putting it then in their resume and earning money. While if you as an entrepreneur are more geared towards finding like-minded people, you go to community events and that kind of stuff, you'll find people who are more molded in terms of who you want to hire, which leads me to the point that as people, if you are looking for jobs, as students, you are looking for jobs, you do not only want to apply for jobs, but you want to make sure that you network with entrepreneurs to make sure that you get an easy way in. Because if you have tried applying jobs on LinkedIn, you'll see that each of these jobs have like 500, 600 applicants, and it's really hard to pick one. And even if you have good skills, a good resume, it's very probable that you'll get ignored or you'll not even be noticed. So the idea is to uh, uh, be surrounded by people who you want to work with, network with them, talk with them, that kind of stuff, which will really help you. And all of my jobs, so two things, all of my jobs are, most of my jobs have been through my network or my LinkedIn. None of the jobs I have done has more of an resume interview process, and none of my jobs asked me that what is the degree that I did, where did I study, or what was the grade that I got in my college. So, and the reason that did not happen is because I did not apply, but I try to get a job or get a gig through my network, so that it's very easy for me to get myself in. Okay. How much time to, so Chinnu Appala is saying any feedback form. Ayush, if you have a feedback form, please do send. Now says how to get sponsors and more participants for an event. So sorry, Ayush raised his hand. Is there a way that I can let you speak or something? Okay, by mistake, no worries. So yeah, so Avinash says how to get sponsors and more participants for an event. So good question. So this both of these go hand in hand, right? If you do not have sponsor, you would not get good events. If you sorry, good participants. If you do not have good participants, you would not get a sponsor. So it's always this is what we call the chicken and egg or egg and chicken problem, which came first, chicken or the egg. So the idea is to make sure that you are good at one of this, at least one, either chicken or the egg. If you are good at participants, you will find a good way to get sponsors. If you're good at sponsors, you will get participants. Now, the easier way here on getting more participants to make sure that you get good speakers. Now, reaching out to good speakers is a very easy thing. You just cold message, cold emails, very ambitious people. You do not want to reach out to me. You want to reach out to founder of Oyo, Ritesh Agrawal. You want to reach out to Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and a lot of this will say no, right? And that's what you will expect. Not a lot of famous people will respond or say yes to you, but only takes one yes to change the whole thing. So, and it always takes thousands of tries to get a one yes. So, message 1,000 people that you think would be really ambitious, and I'm sure one will say yes. And if you have one good speaker, it's really easy to get a lot of participants. Getting more participants also, I have one tip on that, is that have a lot of ambassadors. Now, this is a concept, new concept. So I'll tell you what ambassadors are. So what we'll do is within your company or within your event organization, you want to hire people who you call your ambassadors, who you will, if you cannot pay, you will pay through resources, maybe swag, or you give them a shout out on social media. You find out that what are the resources that you can provide to them. You hire them as your ambassadors, and what they do is they handle a particular area. Either it could be their college, it could be a city, it could be their particular group that they have. So you hire these ambassadors who you pay by something, and what they do is help you reach your event to whatever the area is. So that's one way of getting event participants. um, Another thing you can do is that you only let people inside an event if they share about the event. Now, this is a very how do you say it? बहुत चालाक चीज है ना कि sounds also a bit selfish, but I think that this exclusivity thing that hey, not all of us can get in, only who is shared can get in, gives this person a FOMO, so they want to share and they want to attend the event. Not only it makes sure that people who register attends the event, but also make sure that you get a lot of views. Now, not sure that if this will work for you or not, but it's worth giving a shot. And then how to get sponsors is again the same thing. What I would do is collect a list of 1,000 people that I think could be, 1,000 could be very optimistic, maybe a few hundred. Collect a list of them, reach out to them, make sure that you really have a good materials that you will send them in terms of PDF, which talks about what are the benefits that they would get if they become a sponsor. Now, sponsors do not become sponsors because they want to be seen as sponsors. Their marketing team who makes the decision of sponsoring something has some goal in mind. Most of the times, the goal is to make sure that they get more traffic, they get generate more revenue, they get more community, they get more brand awareness. So you understand that what is it that you can give through whatever reach you have, and then clearly mention that in the proposal that you are sending, and send it to a lot of people, and then I'm sure that one will say yes. Okay, so Rohit says that does this field require huge initial investment? Like, for example, I have an idea but no assets to start the work. Then what should I do? And should I assume that this is about starting up or is it about marketing? If you're talking about marketing, it does not require a huge initial investment. It's a myth. If you have some investment, it just makes your journey easier and faster and quicker. But if you do not have money, you'll be a bit slow, but you'll be steady and you will do just fine, and you will in fact learn more if you do marketing without having money. So no initial investment required if you are trying to get into marketing or doing marketing for a startup. And if your question was about starting up, also I would say that it does not require money. I worked with a startup that started as $350, which I would say around what, 20,000. It sounds a bit high, converting into Indian rupees. But for people in the US, $300 is nothing, right? So I was I was a head of marketing for a startup that started with $300 and reached a valuation of $10 million. Now, again, you do not you so as an entrepreneur, it's really important for you to understand that you do not need money, but you also need to understand, or you also need to find ways of how to do stuff that actually needs money without needing money. And that's where the skill of being an entrepreneur comes into handy, or that is how you learn being an entrepreneur, is that you have zero resources, no support, no customers, nothing, but you find your own ways to make it work and generate your first dollar or first rupee, is what the whole, or is what a lot of this entrepreneurial journey is about. And that is how you will learn. So if you have money and you can put money, then good. If not, I mean, you have my moral support that that's the best thing that will happen in your not only entrepreneurial but your normal career, that you will learn how to make things work without no resources. So that's the fun part of it. Yeah, cool. It's six. So we are at the time, but if you still have questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I did enjoy it. If you did too, do let me know. If not,
Hey
go
Deep,
ahead.
Onkar this side.
Hey, Omkar, what's up?
Yeah, it's fine. Actually, I'm following you since 1 year or so now. I
Yeah,
hope that you remember.
I do. I do.
And I'm actually fascinated about your LinkedIn profile.
Mhm.
More about that about section of yours. Any comments on that? And especially one more thing, the
Yeah.
previous hairstyle actually suits you.
What's that? What is it that suits me?
That previous hairstyle of yours,
My
those
previous
curly hairs.
hairstyle. Oh,
Yeah.
curly. Yeah. So I had. So what happened is I only could have curly hairs once. So after that, if I cut my hair, I was not able to get curly. And so I did not have a job till then. Then I had a job, so that I had to cut my hair, which is a sad thing. But I just resigned, so I think I can have my curly hair back again. So hopefully you will see again if we have a new event coming up. But about my bio section that Onkar just mentioned, I'll quickly pull that up. So what my bio section on LinkedIn says is basically um, my experience. Sorry, so and this is something that I touched on really briefly earlier, which is that no one has asked me ever what are the degrees that I've had, what is the college that I studied from, even if I went to Canada, did my PG, how much grades I got. No one has asked me that ever for my jobs or for any other consulting gigs. And I'm not saying that that will be the same for you, but what I believe, and not only as an employee, but also as an employer, as an entrepreneur. When I go and hire people, when I go and interview people, I try to not ask where they've studied from. Most of the times it's, they just say when they're introducing themselves that, hey, I've studied this degree from this college, but I do not insist on knowing that what are the degrees, because I do not believe at all that what you have studied is going to or has to affect how good you are at your job. And like, from the people that I know who are my close friends or colleagues, most of them have studied something and are doing a job in another field. For me, I have done my PG in computer engineering. Sorry, my graduation, my bachelor's, my PG in information technology, which is similar to computer engineering, but I never had a job regarding to computers. I only done marketing, startups, growth kind of stuff. So again, coming back to the point, if you are a student, if you have gotten bad grades, no matter which semester that was, no matter if it was your final year, no matter if it was a viva, no matter if your professor has ever told you that you will never be able to do something in your life because that's what professors do, and little do they know that that's not how stuff works. But please do not worry about if what you have studied. If you like what you studied, then please do worry about it, because that's going to be a career. But if you do not like it, you have not made a mistake. In fact, you have, if you have not used that time on learning something else. So again, student who do not like their studies but want to pursue something else, it's never too late. It will just take you 6 months or 1 year of 1 year of efforts to be really good at something that you do not know nothing about today. If you do not know marketing, mark my words, if you start learning marketing today, I can ensure that you can be better than me in marketing in 6 months, even less if you spend more time. So it's all about how much time, how much resources, how much passion that you can put into what you are learning. But do not worry about your degree. There will be people who will ask you in interviews at what degrees you've had, but trust me, once you gain some experience or once you have something to show that is just good or better than your degree, you'll never have to worry about it. So do not take these things very seriously in life. There's always be a better opportunity when you go out and have a job. So yeah, that's that. Cool.
Okay. Actually, I had a question.
Sure, go ahead.
When we talk about marketing for a early stage startup, and when we go over a LinkedIn or a Twitter, like probably in the last 1 year, I've seen there is a lot of hype in building in public. Like people follow that, they share their journey, and hopefully you are doing so. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Like it's beneficial for the early stage startup? Like I have seen many times, like they do get a hit sometimes. Like, मतलब नहीं कर पा रहा कोई तो नहीं बोल पा रहा, ऐसा केस हो रहा है, तो ये क्या मतलब करना चाहिए, कैसा है?
Yeah, good, really good question. And this is a very advanced thing. So good that Ayush knows about it. In fact, I did mention in one of my courses yesterday, and not a lot of people knew. So I'll make sure that I explain what building in public is. So building in public is a concept where, so क्या करते हैं, like when we are an entrepreneur, बहुत बड़ा गलती, very big mistake we make is that, hey, I have a unique idea, I don't want to tell my idea to you. What if you steal my idea and you work on my idea? No, people do not give uh, a damn about your idea, because ideas are worth a dime. Ideas, तुम मुझे बोलो, मैं तुम्हें आइडिया का फैक्ट्री देता हूँ, but if you do not work on that idea, that does not result into anything, right? So again, so thoda sa divert hoke I'll tell ki, if you have an idea, do not worry. Yes, it's the execution that matters. So if you have an idea, and don't be so proud and don't be so boasting, egoistic about your idea ki mera idea to unique hai. I'm sure that 1,000 people have had your idea earlier, but either they are working on it and they will overtake you, or it's not a good idea, hence you are not seeing anyone else doing it. But बहुत आइडिया के पीछे मत पड़ो, ठीक है ना? बिल्डिंग इन पब्लिक इज वेरी ऑपोजिट ऑफ saving your idea or not talking about your idea to people. Building in public is telling everything, like most of the things, including revenues, what kind of visitors you have, how developed your product already is. So say if I'm building a tool, a web tool, or say social media, which is very easy example. If I'm building a social media network, if I'm building in public, what I'll do is I'll post on Twitter, LinkedIn, or any other social media platform or my email newsletter, say that, hey, I'm trying to build this thing. This is the whole idea. This is what I'll do. This is my plan looks like. I'll launch this thing in 90 days. Uh, I'll keep updating these people on how my progress is. Once I launch, I'll keep updating the, hey, I've launched. This is how many users are there. This is the revenue that I've generated. Of course, you can decide how much you want to share, how much you don't want to share. But the whole idea of building in public is to make sure that people around you or people on a social media network, you keep sharing with them the stuff that you are working on or you are building. Now, if you why you should build in public, why it's a good concept is that one, it keeps you accountable. Key, if you are working on a startup idea, it's really easy to quit. Because one, you get bored. Second, you get negative thoughts. Third, people say that, hey, it's not a good idea, that kind of stuff. So it's really easy to quit. But if you are building in public, so it's lucky you have already posted on your Facebook profile saying that, hey, I'm building this. This is my plan. You'll see me launch this in 90 days. People has commented, hey, congratulations. Do let me know if you need any help. अभी पीछे हटना इज रियली हार्ड फॉर यू बिकॉज पीपल इन 90 days will think कि अच्छा ये बंदा तो ये चीज पे काम कर रहा था, वेयर इज द रिजल्ट, right? So it keeps you accountable. It's like this like personal trainers in gym, right, who keeps pushing you, who knows, who keeps you accountable कि हाँ तुम्हें ये करना है. तो this pressure, not, it's not exactly pressure, but this thing that there are people who know about what you are building. You need to make sure that you actually build and deliver. So it keeps you accountable is one reason why you should do it. Second, and why I love the concept, is because it's free marketing. So it's not free marketing, but it's easy and convenient marketing. So let's say there are no, I am building a tool. Again, sorry, मैं tool का बहुत आदत है मुझे, because I keep building tools and I keep working with tools. But let's मुझे tool explain करना hard रहेगा. So let's give the same example. Say I'm building a social media network and I have my friends and family on Facebook. Now मेरा जो सोशल मीडिया नेटवर्क है वो मैं बिल्ड कर रहा हूँ. मैंने आज पोस्ट कर दिया कि आई बिल्ड एंड लॉन्च इन 90 days. मेरे पहले पोस्ट से ही I have started marketing. Now it's not the acquisition part of marketing, because people cannot sign up and start using my social media network, but people has already started being aware that I am building a social media network. So I'm already started marketing without actually marketing the product. Now in 7 days, I'll post one more thing saying that, hey, this is मेरा जो social media network है उसपे मैंने post upload करने का feature बना दिया. So people will get excited. They will start getting attached to your product. तो जब तक आपका लॉन्च का टाइम आएगा, they will know what the whole product is about. They'll be excited because they know and they have been a part of the journey of your building. So when they are part of the journey, they are really attached, not only emotionally but logically, कि they really want to at least try, because उन लोग ने पूरा imagine किया है journey that you have been through while building the product. So that is that is the second reason that it's a good idea to build in product. I do not see any reasons why not to do it. Just that you should not worry a lot कि अगर नहीं बनाया तो क्या हुआ. The thing that keeps you accountable should not give you pressure इतना ज़्यादा कि you just get frustrated. That's the only thing that I have that would be a reason not to do it. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. I think there was someone else who also unmuted themselves to ask a question. Hey, I am free. If you need to shut this off, I'm okay. But I am free if there are any questions. No.
We had a lovely interaction with you, and all of us, including me, got to learn lots of things about marketing. And whoever doesn't have any knowledge got to learn some experiences. So before going forward, I would like to say to everyone that we have another event after this, which I'll be linking. If you're free, you could join that. And I have one question for you too. That you mentioned about your friend starting a soap business, right? And
Yeah.
also, lots
Mhm.
of my friends have Instagram stores and trying to build new startups for themselves, be it thrift stores or any kind of small scale business. So for this situation, all of us, those who know them, are trying to purchase from them. So if some people also, like lots of people believe in good brands, so how are these people gonna compete with them, and how can they grow and get an edge over them, is my question.
Yeah, good question. So, uh, again, there's a lot of dynamics here. Sorry, can you tell me what time is this next event so I do not just, overdo this?
We have it at 6:30.
6:13. Okay. So, when you are in e-commerce, having a good brand is important. It's really hard for you to be able to fight other brands. So, one thing to do is do not fight with other brands. You do not need to compare yourselves with other brands, because it's not a brand versus brand fight, because you are not a brand. It's a product versus product fight, that whose product is better. And I'm sure most of the times the big brands do not have a great product. They have an okay product, but they have a good packaging, they have good creatives, they make it look so good that even without knowing that what flavor or what kind of smell the product has or the soap has, you will just buy it because you just like you just like imagining you using that product because it just looks good. So ये वो वाला चीज है, कि it just looks good, that's why you buy it. Sometimes, most of the times, it's an impulsive buy. So as an e-commerce store, for one, you want to make sure that you do not compare yourselves in terms of what they can do versus what you can do. What you can do is that you can have a good product, and second, you can have a good creative or good graphics on your Instagram. Now, I can say a lot about how you can make acquire more customers, that kind of stuff, but the conclusion of the whole, and this is what I had with my friend as well, who is doing this business, is that हजार चीजें कर सकते हैं, but the only thing that you should focus on, which is something that will only work, is do Instagram ads. Writing content, doing SEO, doing other stuff will only not waste your time, but be in drain, because you want get good results. So have a good product, good packaging, and make sure that it looks really good when you're uploading it, because people do not buy because it's online. People cannot experience the product, cannot smell the product. They only buy from what they can see. So they need to see something really good, something very captivating, and then make it easier for them to purchase from you. So um, you can use tools like so Shopify is a good e-commerce store creator that you can use to make sure that people can easily buy. They do not have to message you on Instagram saying that, hey, I want to buy, and then you send them your Paytm number, and then they do Paytm, and then they send a screenshot, and then you ask for address. This is not something that people like to do. So create a good e-commerce store which makes you look more professional compared to doing conversations on Instagram DMs, is something that I suggest.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really an amazing session with you. And your experiences and the way you climbed up with hard work in life is really something to be admired. I hope many of us will be inspired by you and will follow the right path towards their destiny. Thanks a lot to you. I would also like to thank Kindle Snack Harvest in collaboration with Skillvalley for bringing such amazing people to interact with us. We'll be having numerous such sessions in the future. Till then, I would like to tell everyone to have fun and stay safe. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Anushka. Thanks, guys. Bye. Nice meeting you. Bye.